My parents took my sibling on a trip and told me, "We didn't book a ticket for you, it's just family this time." I smiled and said, "I understand," then quietly left. Days later, they called me desperately when their entire hotel reservation, which I funded, was cancelled. Growing up, it was clear that my younger sibling, Alex, fake name, was my parents' favorite. I was the responsible one, the one who got good grades, worked hard, and never caused trouble. But Alex? Alex could do no wrong. If I asked for something, I had to earn it. If Alex asked for something, they just got it. No questions, no conditions. I noticed it when I was a kid, but I brushed it off. Kids aren't great at understanding these things. But as I got older, it became more obvious. My birthdays were just another day. Alex's birthdays were huge events. If I needed something expensive, I was told it was too much. If Alex wanted something twice as expensive, my parents found a way to make it happen. And if I ever dared to bring it up, "You're older, you should understand." I got tired of fighting for their attention. So, I stopped. I moved out as soon as I could, built my own life, and kept a polite but distant relationship with them. It was easier that way. Last summer, my parents started talking about taking a trip to Paris. They hadn't traveled in years and kept bringing it up whenever I visited. I was in a good financial place, so I figured, why not? I had already helped them in small ways, paying off bills, covering unexpected expenses. It wasn't a big deal to me. They were still my parents, even if our relationship wasn't great. So, when they mentioned struggling to book a hotel within their budget, I told them I'd take care of it. I didn't think much of it. I booked them a beautiful hotel, a 5-star suite, balcony view, right in the heart of Paris. It was my gift to them. At no point did they tell me I wasn't going. In fact, they talked about the trip like I was part of it. My mom would ask me if I'd looked up places to visit, and my dad sent me links to restaurants he wanted to try. Then, 2 weeks before the trip, I was at their house when my mom casually said, "Oh, we didn't book a ticket for you." I thought I misheard her. What? She barely looked up from her coffee. "We didn't get a ticket for you," she repeated. "It's just family this time." I stared at her. I looked at my dad, who wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at Alex, who smirked. I wasn't even angry at first. I was confused. I waited for an explanation, some kind of reasoning that made sense. Maybe they thought I was too busy with work. Maybe they assumed I wouldn't want to go. But no. They just didn't include me. And they didn't even think it was a big deal. I nodded slowly. "I understand." Then I stood up and left. I don't think they even noticed how quiet I was. Here's the thing about the hotel reservation. It was booked under my name. My money. My account. My control. And now, they were going on this amazing trip while I sat at home, realizing, without a doubt, that they never saw me as family. I wasn't upset about the trip itself. I could afford my own vacation. I could go to Paris whenever I wanted. But they didn't even consider me part of them. And that's what hurt. But I didn't argue. I didn't confront them. I didn't cry or beg for an explanation. I just made a decision. And 2 days before their flight, I logged into my account. I looked at the non-refundable, fully paid reservation. And I clicked cancel. The day of their flight, I kept my phone close. Not because I was waiting for them to call, I just wanted to see how long it would take. They landed in Paris early in the morning. By the time they checked their email and saw that their luxury hotel reservation was gone, my phone started lighting up. First, a text from my dad. "Dad, hey, there's a mistake with the hotel. They don't have our reservation. Call them and fix it." I ignored it. Then my mom. "Mom. Did you cancel the reservation? The hotel says we have no room. Call me now." I turned off my notifications. A few hours later, the calls started. My phone rang over and over. Mom, Dad, even Alex. I let them go to voicemail. I imagined them standing in the hotel lobby, exhausted from the flight, arguing with the staff, realizing they had nowhere to go. But they still didn't suspect me. Not yet. By late afternoon, the messages had changed. At first, they were frustrated. "Dad, we're trying to book another hotel, but everything is full. It's the middle of tourist season. Call me back." Then, they were confused. "Mom, did you do this? The hotel said it was cancelled directly through the booking site. We don't understand. Please call." And then, pure desperation. Alex, you need to fix this. We don't have anywhere to stay. Everything is too expensive. Mom is freaking out. Dad is blaming her. Just call them and get the room back. I smiled. I could have helped. I could have told them I had already paid for the reservation again, just under a different name. My own name. Because I was in Paris too. I had booked my own flight the moment they told me I wasn't included. I didn't tell them. I didn't post about it. I made sure they wouldn't suspect a thing. And when I cancelled their hotel, I rebooked it for myself. So while they scrambled in the streets of Paris, dragging their luggage from one overpriced, low-rated hotel to another, I was sitting in the suite they were supposed to have. The balcony view? Mine. The fancy breakfast they had been looking forward to? Mine. And the best part? They still didn't know. By nightfall, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Then, a final text from my mom. Mom, I don't know what's going on. But if you did this, you've ruined this trip. Call us back. I stared at my phone, debating. Then, I made a decision. I turned off airplane mode and called them. When my mom picked up, she sounded out of breath. Finally. Where have you been? I took a sip of my wine. Just enjoying my night. How's Paris? Silence. Then, her voice got sharp. Did you cancel the hotel? I leaned back in my chair, staring out at the Eiffel Tower. Why would I do that? I thought this was a just family trip. Another pause. I could hear my dad in the background, asking who was on the phone. You're in Paris, she finally said. It wasn't a question. I smiled. Yeah. I am. The line went dead. The silence stretched. I could hear my mom breathing on the other end, but she wasn't saying anything. Then, my dad's voice came through, irritated. Give me the phone. A second later, he was on. You're in Paris. I swirled the wine in my glass. Yeah. Got here this morning. I could picture them standing there, probably in some cramped, overpriced hotel room, if they even managed to find one. You cancelled the reservation, he accused. I sighed. It was under my name. My money. I decided to use it myself. My dad started saying something, but my mom had taken the phone back. She was angry now. How could you do this? We have nowhere to stay. I took a slow breath, letting the words sink in. You're saying that like it's my problem, I said calmly. It is your problem, she snapped. We're your family. I let out a short laugh. That's funny. You didn't think I was family 2 weeks ago. Silence again. Then Alex grabbed the phone. Okay, you got us back. You proved your point. But fix it. Rebook the hotel. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the glittering lights of the Eiffel Tower. And then I saw something. A family, a real family, laughing together at a nearby table. Parents and their adult kids, smiling, taking pictures, enjoying their time together. No tension. No bitterness. Just love. It hit me harder than I expected. I would never have that with my parents. And suddenly, I didn't feel like playing this game anymore. I exhaled and said, no. The rage that exploded from the phone was immediate. My mother started yelling. My dad said something about how ungrateful I was. Alex, of course, whined that I was being dramatic. I let them vent. Then, my mom's voice dropped to something more desperate. Listen, we didn't mean to exclude you. It was a misunderstanding. I almost laughed out loud. A misunderstanding? I repeated. You literally told me, it's just family this time. She scrambled. We meant it as what? I cut in. Because it sounded pretty clear to me. More silence. Then, my dad sighed. Look, we just assumed you were busy. There it was. The excuse. It was pathetic. If they had thought I was busy, why didn't they just ask? Why not at least tell me I wasn't included instead of dropping it on me 2 weeks before the trip? Because they hadn't cared. Because they never thought I mattered enough to be included in the first place. And now, because they were suffering, they wanted to rewrite history. I was done. You'll figure it out, I said simply. Enjoy Paris. And then, I hung up. For the next few hours, my phone kept buzzing. Calls, texts, voicemails. I ignored them all. Then, at midnight, I got a text that made me pause. Alex, where are you staying? I frowned. That was new. I didn't respond. 5 minutes later, another text. Alex, we're near the hotel district. Let's meet up. My stomach twisted. They were looking for me. The next morning, I decided to explore the city. I walked along the Seine, visited a few museums, and got some pastries from a small cafe. It was peaceful. Until I returned to my hotel. As I walked into the lobby, I felt my phone vibrate. A text from the front desk. Front desk, your family is here asking for you. Should we send them up? I froze. They found me. I stood frozen in the hotel lobby, staring at the message on my phone. They found me. For a split second, I debated telling the front desk to send them away. I wasn't ready for this. I had imagined them being angry, desperate, maybe even regretting how they had treated me. But I hadn't expected them to track me down. My fingers hovered over my phone screen. Then I saw movement near the entrance. My mother. My father. Alex. They were scanning the lobby, and the moment my mother's eyes landed on me, her entire face changed. Relief? Anger? I couldn't tell. But she grabbed my father's arm and started toward me. I had seconds to react. I could walk away. I could pretend I didn't see them. I could take the elevator to my room, lock the door, and be done with it. But I didn't. I stood my ground. I wasn't running. I wasn't hiding. They wanted to confront me. Fine. I let them. Why would you do this? My mother's voice was tight, barely controlled. She glanced around as if embarrassed that we were standing in the middle of a luxurious hotel lobby. I crossed my arms. Do what? Don't play dumb, Alex snapped. You canceled the hotel and left us stranded. I raised an eyebrow. Stranded? You're here, aren't you? My father cut in, voice dangerously low. Do you have any idea what you put us through? We were exhausted, dragging our bags around the city, trying to find a hotel. Everything was booked. We had to settle for a disgusting, overpriced shoebox. Do you know how humiliating that was? I tilted my head. More humiliating than being told your own family trip didn't include you. Silence. My mother's face twisted. We never meant to exclude you, don't lie. My voice was sharp, cutting through whatever excuse she was about to make. You made it very clear that I wasn't part of this. You looked me in the eye and told me, it's just family this time. Her lips parted, but she had no words. So tell me, I continued. Why do you suddenly need me now? Because your trip isn't going as planned? My father stepped forward, lowering his voice. We're still your parents. We raised you. I laughed. A short, humorless sound. You raised me? No. You raised Alex. You tolerated me. That hit. My mother flinched. We made mistakes, she admitted. But, no. I shook my head. A mistake is forgetting a birthday. A mistake is accidentally leaving someone out of a group chat. This was deliberate. I could feel people around us watching. The tension in the air was thick. Hotel guests, staff, tourists, all pausing, ears perking up at the unfolding drama. Good. They wanted a confrontation. They got one. Alex scoffed. You're acting like a spoiled brat. You're mad because you weren't invited, so you decided to ruin it for everyone. Grow up. I turned to them slowly. Funny, I said. Because all my life, I was told to be the mature one. To be responsible. To understand that you were the favorite. And now, when I finally stand up for myself, I'm the brat. Alex rolled their eyes. You're just bitter. I stepped closer. Tell me something. If the roles were reversed, if you had been left out of a trip and found out I was in Paris, staying in the hotel you had paid for, would you be fine with that? Alex opened their mouth. Closed it. Looked away. That was all the answer I needed. My father sighed heavily, rubbing his forehead. All right. What do you want? You made your point. Do you want us to beg? Apologize? I stared at him. I don't want anything from you. He blinked. What? I exhaled, the last bit of fight draining out of me. I spent my whole life wanting something from you. Love. Respect. To feel like I mattered. And you never gave it to me. They all went silent. I let out a bitter chuckle. But when you needed something from me, money, a hotel, a solution to your problems, you came running. That's all I ever was to you, wasn't I? A backup plan. A wallet. My mother's eyes glistened. That's not true. Isn't it? She had no answer. Alex folded their arms, still trying to act indifferent. But their face was tight. My father just looked exhausted. For the first time, I saw guilt in his expression. Good. I didn't drag it out. I didn't want revenge anymore. They had already lost something bigger than a hotel. They lost me. I pulled my room key out of my pocket and held it up. This hotel. I paid for it. The room. It's mine. The trip. It's mine. You made sure of that when you left me out. So enjoy your vacation. But do it without me. Then, I turned around and walked away. No one stopped me. Not even Alex. I got in the elevator, pressed the button to my floor, and watched as the doors slid shut. And when I was alone, really alone, I waited for regret to hit. For sadness. For doubt. But all I felt was relief. I didn't block them. I didn't send any angry texts. I didn't chase an apology that would never come. Instead, I spent the next few days in Paris the way I should have, free. I explored the city without them. Ate at the best restaurants. Took photos. Met people. Laughed. Lived. And when I flew home, I didn't tell them. Months passed before I heard from them again. They sent short, awkward messages. My mother called once, but I let it go to voicemail. And I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't waiting for them to change. Because I had changed. And that was enough.